I wrote 1,000 words for you. I have only what has been given to this body of flesh as a temporary storage place for my eternal spirit. This body of flesh has to be appreciated as a temple for scripture to be optimized. We do not share the spirit of the physical birth via water. Some will have an additional subsequent spirit birth that alone allows their ears of a now spiritual nature to hear the spiritual voice of a shepherd calling the elect to make a choice. Christ asks, will you be faithful unto death after leaving everything? That is the minimum. Pull yourself out of bed, dreading the doubt in your head, the past of a myth world of Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie and his type, his friends. Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie kissed the girls, made them cry. That world would have preferred that if it were that world would have looks like preferred that it were to be normal. Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie kissed a girl and made them cry. That world would have preferred that it were to be normal. Maybe something like Georgie Porgy sitting in a tree, KISSING, but alas, the world we live in today, post 50 Shades of Gray, have we gone from carousel to the social hill or the social hell by scrolling on a phone? Why spread your legs to ride a wooden horse? On a carousel, of course. So this is me free writing. No, that's not my name. It is one slow way to change the way I would prefer people ponder their beating heart. Let those heart strings do their thing. Things that books call instinct. A born child will start rooting the rooting instinct. A born child will start rooting for the home team? No. The two breasts are the home team. The two breasts will do the rest as it ingests the milk that was there so it could follow its instinct. The satanic plan to ruin average man, display the glay and slip in the 50 shades of gray like a turtle born on a beach, the ocean within its reach. I was called to preach truth? Why were we raised this way? End up thinking this or that for the rest of your life or not? Why did Christ say the law was perfect as a temporary solution to a sin of Satan in the spirit world? That is the reason we have this physical phase before we all, by death, metamorphose into our true spiritual occupation, prepared perfectly prior to the foundation of the creation of dust that could mingle with the ever present water to make mud. And if there was no mud, how could I have been born to say, welcome everybody to Mud Flood was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let anyone tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Check this out. This is a disclaimer. First I should share the screen, right? You got to hit the entire screen, make it into a bubble, audio, boom, boom, boom. Hey, boom, she whiz, boom. Nothing new, only writing. T's carried more efficiently like a turbocharger for sunlight. Huh. Photosynthetic engine that traps carbon more efficiently. Huh. Corn. All 330 ostriches? Man. It's the number, right? I'm going to go back. Did I miss any? Because these are so good. Oh, I was doing some water study stuff. That's from the other day Bible study. Where am I? This is old or something. This is kind of new. Huh? Honestly, I'm doing these things. Going back the other way. These things, did I do a show on these yet? I must have, because now I got this other stuff. Look, she's wearing a Venus flytrap. That's kind of weird. Let's see what else we got here. 10-3. I was looking up some women's sports here to see what a good average is. Oh, where I go to the university, we have such a bad coach. He lost a 10-3 lead. And they wrote about it in Division One, where a team almost lost a game with a 10-1 lead, but they didn't. Only Adams State could do that. This is old. Shana Na? How is that? I don't have any new pictures for today. That doesn't make sense. Oh, I must have been looking for a screenshot. What do we got here? No, that's yesterday. A merry-go-round is a carousel. Okay, I mentioned carousel. I mentioned carousel in the monologue. I'm ruining this show. The carousel. Look, it's a tournament or exhibition in which horsemen execute evolutions. That's the Webster Merriam Dictionary. RJ, can we Can we use your old dictionary from the 1800s and see what carousel merry-go-round is? Because that was a fun ride where people were going like, "Hey, look, it goes up and down. It's like a horse." And people paid money to get spin in those circles. So James Angleton again looks like I was watching something about, and I just thought it was interesting, these classified things. James Jesus Angleton, CIA 1953, Banana Republics, more Banana Republics, copies of communication, and its usefulness at this point can be characterized as being obsolete. It is recommended that it no longer be necessary to place copies of Bureau Informant 100 material in the control file. Yeah. This made sense to me. I wanted somebody to see, somebody had to make the notes on this in 67. It was like, okay, whatever. They're getting paid a fortune to do it. Why not? They did mention Lee Harvey Oswald, but they're saying they only used the name so it would be a diversion. They're trying to prop up JFK is like, oh, he's a Roman Catholic, but he tried to do the right thing. Oh, those good Roman Catholics, as if, come on, it's a rewritten history. Stop it. I did take a picture of this guy's stuff. He's still on there, the internet, doing the YouTube thing. He believes that the earth is a rock also, but he believes it's the body of who is that Indian? Krishna? Because I mean he does, he finds weird rocks and he knows they were alive at one part and he's amazed by the vortexes, not drawn to Christ too much, if at all. Hey, check this out. I got to spin through this stuff. I'm doing this thing, man. Showing off the thing of what else I got. I did that. I should read those pages again. I really liked it. And I like the fact that by starting to write things like that, the whole world has been changed. And it looks like the salt of the earth are out there. Ben Joseph's out there studying it and he's laying it down. He's new to the catastrophe, but
are rattled by new incoming information. I hope you guys and gals, are as well. Because the greatest importance of finding information to the contrary of our beliefs is not the fact that we might have to believe something that's laughable. Forget all about that. The underlying tone of all of this is we are here on Play School Earth to play, to learn, to grow. And that doesn't come by landing on truth and never moving. What it really comes about by
what he's trying to explain is he's got a hard time, you know, he just stumbled on the mud flood, man.
William laid out a street plan for the expanded settlement. Mexico officially ceded the territory to the United States at the end of the war in 1848. Despite its attractive location as a port or naval base, San Francisco was still a small settlement with inhospitable geography. So the creator of the film shows us this panoramic picture of San Francisco in 1877 with amazing constructions, yet no people.
I tried to find the film by using the name he gives. I think I have it, but I should play the whole films because look at that picture. Look at that. That's how they found the world, and they explained it full of the nonsense to get you from, Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie to children reading 50 Shades of Grey, and that's about fetishism, sadomasochism, weirdness. Uh, go.
At all. He says the only thing you'll find is this one lone horse. In 1846, there were under 500 Mormon settlers in San Francisco. between 8
You know, and this guy doesn't appear to be a Mormon. And that's the only time he even mentions. He doesn't bring up religion. He's just talking about a stat he read somewhere, throwing up some things, Bub and Grub. I doubt that's the real name, but we've all heard that San Francisco's crazy. A new group of people are learning it.
of roughly 200,000 filled with criminals, prostitutes, and gold miners
Sure.
could source all the materials to flawlessly construct this in just 30 short years when the population was still growing from 25,000 to 200,000. Meanwhile, where are all the people? It's a good question, but I did find a discrepancy in the filmmaker's research. He says there's only one horse. I found several more.
That's good looking out. Here you go. Here's the guy.
And in fact, when you look at the picture of the burning city of San Francisco in 1906, then you're actually going to see some scaffolding and some higher buildings being built. Here's an image of an earthquake that hit the city many years.
So the film, I mean, that he was watching was from from years ago. Let's get a better idea, Ben. When did you go mud flood, Ben? Let's see. Mind control, XRP, Bitcoin, our body is a supercomputer. Maybe he only found this out, he must have done that a few years ago. Is it one of his popular videos? 7 years ago. That's when he has that poster hanging on it. The mud flood theory. This was 4 years ago. He found out. He didn't stay on it. Doesn't look like he stayed on it. Or does he build on it? Wonder what he said about the Trump.
If you haven't heard yet, July 13th, just yesterday, the U.S. News reports
That's the same guy?
Former President Donald Trump was shot in the ear during a Pennsylvania rally before being rushed off stage by the Secret Service. I came out of a movie, Fly Me to the Moon, which is all
that's this guy. This guy here didn't move, didn't do anything, and he's been the guy since QAnon.
About NASA and how some fake footage was filmed about landing on the moon, just in case the mission wasn't successful, so they could say they did the Russians.
Fight.
What's interesting about that is I come out after watching that movie with my wife, and here was all this news about Trump being shot. So information arrived at me through this device that I know has its own agenda, even beyond the
Elect me. I'm the man who gave you Operation Warp Speed. There's no stopping it now. Mud flood was Armageddon, and there's no stopping it. There will be a wide road. There will be division. There will be the truth. We found it. Everything's been found. You know it. I know it. But we don't know how to be a man today. We need a person to describe how he basically was given this information to be normalized, perfected for free. So a white man could go on to the billionaire Oprah to say, look, I made it. I pulled myself up. You just need to be a manly capitalist man and realize, hey, everybody gets horny.
Hang on my mother every day.
The projects where y'all can't come. Juvenile life get
for women. There's apartment complexes in Atlanta right now just for women with kids. No men. But yet the majority of the men you see are homeless you see are men. Yes, at some point you must curtail, stifle the progress of women. Okay, bitches, y'all had enough. Now we got to stop. Y'all doing, you've had it. We
really wanted for guardrails for a young man.
In the introduction, you say you heard from a lot of moms who say something like, I have a daughter who lives in Chicago, works in PR, and another daughter who's at Penn. My son lives in our basement, vapes, and plays video games. You believe that a lot of mothers are also the ones who are sounding the alarms on what's going on with young men.
The dialogue Oprah has gotten so much more productive. 5 years ago, when I saw this data and I started talking about it, the reaction was pretty much a gag reflex. Because the reality is, people who look and smell and feel like me have had a 3,000-year head start. From 1945 to 2000, America registered a third of all economic growth at just 5% of the population. So we had 6 times the prosperity in America. And then all of that prosperity was essentially shoved into a third of the population that was white, male, and heterosexual.
I'm so glad he said the obvious. Thank you for that, Scott. But
Thanks, Scott. What else you got?
I did it. Why couldn't you? What's your excuse? What's stopping you? I don't feel sorry for men that can't compete. Nigga, I had to compete. I'm still competing. So no, I don't feel sorry for these young white men. Young men, period. No, figure it out. I had to. Yeah, I had the benefit and you know, safety net of my parents. I still had to put in the work.
The young men I work with usually want to move out of the parents' house. They want to start making some money. And then ultimately what they end up is like, when they start trusting, I really like a girlfriend. And I go through a series of exercises. And the first thing I ask them is like, would you have sex with you?
Uh-oh.
What do you look like?
Hey, Professor, that's the first honest thing I've ever heard any man say in assessing another young man. Kevin Samuels tried it and failed miserably when he asked the young man, is your dick big? I understood what he was saying, but the execution was very poor. He should have asked him what this white man just asked this young white man. Okay, that's how he was supposed to do it. But Kevin being Kevin, you know, whatever. Let's go.
Do you take your appearance seriously? Do you have a plan? Do you have a kindness practice? How do you demonstrate excellence? Right? The basis of
I
evolution.
love the way you talk about, you emphasize kindness so much in Notes on Being a Man.
There are 3 reasons women are attracted to men sexually. And there's a ton of research here.
Okay, now this is where I'm going to disagree with him. This is the 4th point I disagree with Scott on. Ladies, I want you to get y'all's take on what he says, the 3 reasons why he thinks what makes men.
Is Oprah really a girl?
I highly disagree with what he's going to say. So, Carrie, thank you for the 2. Whatever happened to men going their own way? That's a good question. I too would like to know where they're going. Okay, so this is Professor Scott Galloway's 3 reasons what makes men sexually attracted to women, and I disagree with everything he just said. But come on, let's go.
Number 1, and we don't like to talk about this, is the man's ability to signal resources. All right, we don't like to admit that. It's important. Number 2.
Okay, wait. I agree with that. Resources is key. Okay, that is the 3rd point he made that I disagree with. Okay, let's go.
Is intellect. Because instinctively, people who make good decisions for the tribe lives longer. So women are drawn to intellect. The fastest way to communicate in intellect is humor. And just so I can offend everybody, it's a joke, but we can be funny about this. This is my impersonation of a woman. I'm laughing, I'm naked. If you can make a woman laugh, the only...
This is why your pastors, preachers, Dr. Umars can talk to draw.
Wow. Just what?
Sly, you know... You're just so kind. Let me just take off my bra for you real quick. Let me send you these pictures and these videos because you're so kind. Has never happened to me.
No, I never. What?
Because women instinctively know there might be periods in their life through gestation or because they are smaller physically that they need someone who baseline is kind, right? So a kindness practice. I'm not proud of this.
You say you were not always kind.
I'm not proud of this. I was not born with the kindness gene. And when I had kids, I realized that they were going to model me. So I believe, like anything, you can develop a practice. And every day I tried to do something that demonstrated some sort of generosity towards someone.
Zones so that no one else can get in. You got your house, your car.
Well, you know, so there's people out there that are trying to tell, you know, hey, men, it's okay to want a wife. Weird world. So the House on the Rock, I did find something else about that. It's just, look, it's a place where they store things underground that we don't explain. You can pay a quarter in this orchestra with these thousands of dollars a piece violins and cellos. Maybe who knows how much money is worth here to be run mechanically and play the notes. according to their chords, I guess. So it's there. It's the world. They got carousels. The largest indoor carousel is there. I wanted to look at what are reflexes. There's the cross-sectional study assessing primitive reflexes in 67 high-risk newborns. They're still studying. They got the Babinski, the Muro reflex, all of them. Here's how you can make a baby turn its head and open its mouth. Here's how you can make a baby yell without really hurting it. It's just like, whoa, what are you doing here? You move my head too fast. Unintegrated reflex, tonic labyrinthian reflex, tilting the head backwards while laying on the stomach cause the back to stiffen and even arches backwards, the legs to straighten, stiffen, and push together, the toes. Okay. Here's one. Go. What are you doing? It's the Babkin reflex. Look, that'll make him open his mouth. Huh. Who knew? Infant swimming, that's one we did. We took our kids swimming very young like that. Open their eyes, take them underwater, look at them underwater, pull them back up, then they'll breathe. Present at birth. And they say these go away. It was all through evolution. The pyramidal tracks, corticobulbar tract. Wow. It's almost like, look at that. Next to this thing, that's how it's wired in there. You wondered how your battery works on your infinite Mobius strips, spinning in infinity until you die and your seed reveals every word, thought, and intention of your mind. It's in here. Man, this is your endocrine, your thalamus, your thyroid. It's that attack on you with the fluoride and the reuptake inhibitors and things. You know that this is building up gold, silver, and precious stones in your body, in your heart. And then there's this, and it does look like some of those pictures you see on the walls. I think they knew that the stones were reserved in judgment. This is that, skin that's surrounding the rocks. It's, your body and your instincts hit the ground running. We don't even need to know why they call it foot processes, but they do. They know it's convoluted. It's hard. Sometimes there's real pictures. Sometimes they're fake. That's probably fake. But you are electrical. You have instincts. It's not from natural selection. It's not. You may have something you consider a form of mental desires. They're called instincts. It's not called a sex hunch. It's called a sex drive. It's rooting behavior. It's what? A fixed action pattern. I wonder if that was supposed to be a joke when they called it FAP. Dubious discuss in Wikipedia? What? Instincts. Everybody has them. Look, that dog is going to shake that water from its fur. Once it gets your earliest theories are all going to be anti-Bible, right, Mr. Fabre? He would agree. Animals, animal behavior, metamorphosis, mimicry. Possums play dead, metamorphosis. Complete change. Something in your endocrine gland. They don't want yours to work when it matters the most. I guess it's not only the monarch butterfly that they shoved down our throat. A lot of things metamorphose. Crazy. I know. the natural selection thing, that it's just simply unjust. You know, that there is Darwin, social Darwinism, social currency, social credit fitting in because it increases your reproductive success. Don't be ashamed of that. I wanted it so much. I have witnessed the birth of 4 children, and I am a father. It's something to see. It is a miracle. We don't need these guys. We need the Bible. Our children need breast milk. They root for a reason out of instinct. When a child is born, you get its nutrients other than vitamin D, you know, for as long as it takes for the child to be weaned. It is something. They poisoned some of the formula they use for bottles. They know what makes us live. We have to be born again and not do it. Illinois was a crooked state. I listened to that while I was prepping. Women used to ride side saddle because they didn't want to spread their legs across a horse and have their virginity possibly taken and their arousal stimulated in a way that some women find it hard to control. So we went from the carousel ride. You know, they're famous in every country. Here's our country's oldest carousel. It goes up and down. Whereas in the United States, it's more like, well, we've gone to the Six Flags Great America for the roller coaster rides because we know we can get a thrill, a tickle in our tummy. Is this a carousel? This was one of the first carousels where it was for military tournaments. And then it was like, whoa, no side saddle carousels have I seen. They may be out there, but what some people would do, the carousel, the top thrill dragster. I mean, we went from what's fun? It is not a carousel. I've been on this. That's 400 feet straight up. I guess that's like a carousel. Everybody wants to get something. They're trying to figure out the world, figure out the economy, and all we really know is they lied.
Secret.
5-hour
They are
video.
found everywhere across our realm, both the great and the small. Most of the great canals around our Earth are connected to the ocean. Salt water is an excellent conductor of electricity. Sodium chloride is ionized. We have the Corinth Canal, connected to the Aegean Sea. We have the Panama Canal that connects both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The Suez Canal connects with the Mediterranean Sea. And there is the Volga-Don Canal, connecting the Azov Sea, Caspian Sea, and Black Sea with the major oceanic networks. All of the canals built before the 1920s were not built by us or those in the history books. We inherited them. And while the official narrative tells us to meditate on its function and natural laws, because in their time, a great deception would be cast over them, like a cold shadow of an unknown, nefarious king. And maybe God did send this message in the form of a flood, but its truth was mythologized and buried, and the lie propagated in spite of it.
You know, how old is this video? 4 years ago, Flat Earth, Sun and Moon, Zodiac Clock. It's been around. The truth is there. The Bible has explained that the mud flood was Armageddon, and you know it.
Constructed with precise geometric patterns. Again, the symmetrical structures here work to encourage oscillation or vibration of the ions. They kept the water electromagnetically charged, and the aqueducts and viaducts would have worked in a similar fashion. It is likely that a lot of the huge electromagnets we see scattered across our realm would have actually straddled passing water, much like we see on the Volga-Don Canal, even though it's unlikely that the Volga Arch is original, and that many roads themselves were constructed during the Great Reset. It is likely that the inheritors of the 19th century were instructed to drain and fill many of the tributaries that once carried water. This looked like a city of 200,000 people, without any modern technology, power tools, automatic manufacturing, electric motors. A people in a strange, unfounded land, just making their mark. Do we really believe that a burgeoning people built this entire city in just 30 years? And again, such quietness, such stillness. This is a photograph of an empty city. Where are all the people? The shadow of the post here. You see, what lies beneath is not the unfamiliar traces of previous generations, but of the same generation that built these structures. And once you really see this kind of sunken, buried infrastructure that exists in such prevalence across our world, you can never unsee it. We see that the foundations of old churches are actually the original first floors with consistent entrances and windows. All belong to one whole unified civilization. A civilization so developed, they had harnessed the power of electromagnetism to such a high degree that they not only built these huge structures, but also crafted them with utter finesse and beauty. To beyond, they are something else entirely. Our advanced predecessors wanted us to watch the stars. They wanted us to understand that electromagnetic vibration and frequency produce pockets of sonoluminescence in the waters above. They were pointing it out because they wanted us to know that water was the key to unlocking the real potential of electromagnetic energy. They wanted us to know that once harnessed, the ethereal electromagnetic energy could be fused with water, so it could be stored and distributed. And once produced, the water could be manipulated in this space. Furthermore, we also find various historical relics that closely resemble the Old World structural style. In these relics, we see that empty cylinders or vessels are an integral part of the object. Could these be miniature functional objects that mirror the form of the larger empty spaces we see in the Old World structures? Perhaps a kind of micro household object that enabled access to the wider power grid's energy production. There was this unique mercury that enabled the extraction of the ethereal energy from above in the first place. Perhaps it's just a coincidence, if you believe in such a thing, but it is interesting that many of the smaller vessel-like relics we see have markings inside the containers that are red, perhaps a homage to the substance they once contained. In fact, the reference to electricity can be found everywhere amongst repurposed old world sites, even in the unlikeliest of places. Even in this transition phase of the reset, these environments look glorious. This is with most of the water grid already destroyed. Just imagine what they were able to achieve. So many of the major symbolic icons of our time can be... The same gas present in our ionosphere has been used for years, we are told, as an integral component in camera flashes for high-speed photography. It is also an essential component in hyperpolarized MRI scanners. There is also a possibility that the face of the moon is not a natural phenomenon, but was a result of an experiment. Photographic and X-ray film, resting water does not curve or convex. For you see, the satanic controllers are masterminds of reverse engineering. The celestial zodiac ecliptic dial is not a stereographic projection. The entire heliocentric model is reverse engineered science, and they had to start at Polaris and trace their steps back to ensure they justified its fixed, immovable position.
All right, so blah, 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 blah. They want to make it a blah, 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 blah situation. What I want to do is end this now with what I started, what I wrote, 1,000 words for you. We have only what has been given to our bodies of flesh. Our bodies of flesh are a temporary storage place for our eternal spirits, mine and yours. This body of flesh has to be appreciated as a temple of God, for scripture to be optimized. We do not share the spirit of physical birth via water. Some will have an added subsequential spirit birth, being born again. That alone allows the ears of a spiritual nature to hear that spiritual voice of a shepherd, Jesus Christ, calling the elect to make a choice. Christ will ask, will you be faithful unto death, after leaving everything else as less important than following Christ? That is the bare minimum. Pull yourself out of bed, dreading the doubt in your head, the past of a myth world of Georgie, Porgy, Puddin' Pie, and those type of friends. Georgie, Porgy, Puddin' Pie kissed the girls and made them cry. That world would be preferred. That if it were to be normalized, maybe something like Georgie Porgy and Britney Spears sitting in a tree, Kissing. But alas, the world today is left with 50 Shades of Grey, movies made about sadomasochism, fetishism, where they're teaching college girls, there's a better way. Have we gone from the carousel type ride to the social hell of scrolling on a phone for social credit? Why spread your legs to ride a wooden horse? Of course. So this is me free writing. No, this isn't me, my name, free writing. I'm free writing this about what I feel. And, that's how the whole mud flood thing started. I wrote down what I felt after the Lord had led me to this. So this is me writing. It is one slow way to change the way I would prefer people ponder their beating hearts. Let those heartstrings do their thing, things that books call instinct. A born child will start rooting for the home team. The two breasts will do the rest. The satanic plan to ruin average man, displaying the gay and slipped in the 50 Shades of Grey. Like a turtle is born on the beach, the ocean within its reach. I was called to tell and preach this truth. Explain why we were born this way. Why some end up thinking this way or that for the rest of your life or not. Why did Christ say the law was perfect as a temporary solution to a sin of Satan in that spirit world? That is the reason we have this physical phase. There was a sin in spirit world, and we will be in spirit world someday. as living stones fit into the rock of our salvation. We will be metamorphosed into our true spiritual occupation, prepared perfectly prior to the foundation of the created dust that would mingle with the ever-present water to make mud so we could have evidence of the mud flood that was Armageddon. And the mud flood was the Armageddon. They added 1,000 years. They orphan trained our brain. They rewrote history and supplied top thrill dragsters and carousels depending on your level of excitement to fulfill your instincts. Knowing that they've institutionalized, masked you up, made you live through a pandemic where you were alone, it was mental torture on purpose. The Bible is what's true. It is what will drive you to your knees, confessing you're a sinner, realizing that you can be forgiven because you believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is God and that he called you and you're chosen. And you believe that. You confess it with your mouth and realize that's your death sentence. You're going to be dead to the world. They'll think you're a fool. But some persevere to the end, and they are saved. They are not blotted out of the book of life. How do you know that can happen for you? Stay faithful until you die. The Flat Earth Nation, the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamen. Adios, amigos. That's how I like to say goodbye from the border of Colorado and